Welcome, everyone, to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, a twice-a-week sports podcast where we talk everything sports. We talk NFL, World Cup action. We talk MLB, college football, college basketball, NBA, NHL, anything and everything that has to do with the worldwide sport, the world sports, Grumpy Old Man. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Grump, how you doing this fine Thursday evening?
Okay, pretty good. How about you?
Well, my camera obviously was going out there for a second, but otherwise I'm doing pretty well, Grump. I can't complain. There's a lot to talk about in the world of sports when we think about it, right? World Cup, more World Cup action since the last time we had spoken. You've got the Heisman finalists listed tonight and on, I think, the 10th. So Saturday, we'll know who won the Heisman. Very, very close to that date. We'll talk about who we predict is going to win the Heisman. That's for certain, Grump. We're also going to go ahead and talk a little bit about some big signings in the MLB. Big signings. Some players going to new locations. Some players re-signing back. Kind of what it looks like per team. Some teams made big splashes in the MLB. That's for certain.
Can we talk about your attire?
Yeah, what's wrong with it? You like it, right?
Why are you not wearing a full shirt?
Because I got done with the gym, Grump. Ugh. Anyway, there's a lot to be talked about in the world of sports, Grumpy Old Man.
Wide world of sports.
The worldwide of sports. Hold on. What is it? The wide world of sports? What was the ESPN's? What do they used to call that?
It was on ABC. ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Wide world of sports. But for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. We invite you to subscribe on YouTube, to like on Facebook, and to follow on Twitter. Again, as I mentioned, it's a twice-a-week podcast that takes place every Thursday, 9-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Sunday at 8-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, if you enjoy this content, we've got a call to action. There's an absolute must. You must leave a thumbs up. You got to leave a thumbs up if you like the comment. Or
Two
like
thumbs up. Yeah.
2 thumbs up. Ebert and Roper, right, Grumpy?
Yeah.
2 thumbs up there.
Apparently it helps. It was Siskel and Ebert. Then when Gene Siskel died, then it was Ebert and Roper.
Yeah, that's all. I just remember Ebert and Roper.
Then when Ebert went out, it was just at the movies.
Just at the movies.
I think it's done now.
Yeah, they don't do it anymore, I don't believe. But again, I'll get back to it.
Honestly, movies are so crappy now. What's the sense?
But leave a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm, apparently. It gets mine and the grumpy old man's word out to the masses. Yes. And Grumpy, you've got your little Auburn. You got your Auburn jersey on today.
Well, it's actually just a T-shirt. It's an Auburn T-shirt, yes.
Your Auburn T-shirt. So yeah. Oh, we get some comments here quick there. D-Cut saying it's 9:30 TJ time. Yeah. Tony Cheese says here, I bet TJ's wedding started a couple hours late. I actually was on time for the wedding.
No comment.
Andrew L says Brandon Nimmo just resigned and got David Robertson. Get me Senga and I'm a happy camper. We need another bat, and I wouldn't mind a Correa, but why not keep spending already? Just through the luxury tax.
Okay. I just got something saying that the Mets are they have a payroll of $333 million, which would become $398 after the luxury tax. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I mean, Brandon Nimmo, I don't know how much he signed for. To me, he's a jag. He's okay.
The Mets have the largest payroll right now in baseball.
So that's what happens when you give 40-year-old pitchers like $43 million a year.
I just, so what have we done? And here's the thing. I'm a Mets fan. I think to myself, I'm like, what have the Mets realistically done to help improve the team? The biggest issue this team had was we could not get on base and we could not knock in runs. Have we addressed that? In reality, have we addressed that issue this offseason?
No.
I'd say no. It wasn't like, hey, oh, we've got to work. Our bullpen is lacking. The setup guy was, a little bit of a question mark. Robertson definitely goes ahead and answers that. Edwin Diaz was fantastic last year, and our starting pitching, even though we had a lot of injuries last year, our starting pitching was stout. Max Scherzer didn't pitch great in the postseason, but our starting pitching was the strongest point of that team.
They
The thing
lost.
we couldn't do was hit the damn ball.
Yeah, but they lost DeGrom.
Correct. And replace him essentially with Verlander. DeGrom for Verlander is a swap. So I look at that as a net neutral.
Okay. They also lost Taijuan Walker, your guy.
I've always been a big Taijuan Walker guy.
I mean, I felt last year that they needed an outfielder. I still feel that way. Brandon Nimmo's, he's okay. I mean, he's okay, but you didn't want to try to upgrade over him. I still think they should have went after Juan Soto. I know it's like a broken record, me saying it, but that's a guy who could have set you apart. They played it cheap on something like that, and now they're signing. I mean, to me, look at how much DeGrom got. I realize he's got the injuries concerns, but you signed Verlander for more average annual money than DeGrom got.
Yeah,
I'm baffled by that mindset. Unless they feel really bad about his medicals.
When he was back healthy, he pitched extremely well, and I guess the Texans or the Texas Rangers didn't really have to worry too much about that, or they weren't as concerned. I mean, Brandon Nimmo, right, which is worth mentioning. I like Brandon Nimmo. I think he's a serviceable outfielder, serviceable center fielder. He's not a guy that's ever going to bring you power numbers, never, ever. And he's a guy who's also had quite an injury-riddled career.
Yep.
Last year was the most games he's ever played in his career in a season, 151 games.
Interesting.
Usually, year in, year out, he's always banged up at one point and misses some time.
But interesting that it's in a contract year, he's able to stay healthy.
Yeah, it is a little interesting. A lot of these guys go ahead and they put forth a huge Herculean effort to make sure that, before they sign that big contract, they're going to be in the best shape. And, it makes sense, right? You want to maximize what you can earn. But, I don't know.
To me,
we had him on the team last year. What do I expect from him? I expect a guy who hits around maybe like 270, 280. And, he's had years before in the past where he's hit 260, if I recall. He's not a power guy. Don't expect him to be a guy who's hitting 20 home runs and stealing 20 bags. I don't think he's ever hit 20 home runs in a season. He's not a big RBI guy. He's able to get a few runs in, or he's able to record a few runs in the score column, but he's not a guy that I think really moves the needle. It's not an addition. It was just a re-signing back the same player we had last year.
$20 million doesn't get what it used to. That's all.
Absolutely not.
I just 8 years. I just don't understand it. I mean, he's okay, but $20 million a year? I don't know. Like I said, I like what they did last offseason. I like the construction of their team. I mean, Sterling Marte was hurt at the end of the year. I think that really hurt them down the stretch.
It did. And that's why you had to go out. Yep, it hurt us big time. But injuries are going to happen.
Their issues were not getting runs in scoring position. I mean, they still scored a whole bunch of runs last year, but in big situations, they missed that bat in the middle of the lineup, in my opinion. And I wanted Juan Soto bad. They determined they didn't want to trade the catching prospect Alvarez, and that's what stopped them from getting Juan Soto. I just think that's short-sighted. I mean,
I always was in favor of a guy like Masataka Yoshida from Japan, the outfielder. People say, "Oh, it doesn't bring a lot offensively." I don't know. We need guys that want to get on base, and he's not. Go ahead, Grumble.
He signed with the Red Sox, right?
He did sign with the Red Sox,
and he signed for less than Brandon Nimmo did.
I believe so, but again, he's going to never played. Here's another point, right? The reason I was in favor of Yoshida, Japanese-born individual, this offseason, guess who's a free agent, ladies and gentlemen? Shohei Ohtani. Wouldn't it be nice to use him as a little bargaining piece too? We've got Yoshida here too. Remember, Ohtani's not a guy who speaks any or very limited English. I think it allows, the integration of him to feel a little bit more at home where you say, yeah, you're going to be able to speak your native tongue with teammates. You know what I mean? I thought what's Why not take why not take the roll of the dice at Yoshida, and then you go big after Ohtani this upcoming offseason too?
I don't know. There's no guarantee. Maybe Ohtani gets traded this season. I mean, and he goes maybe to the Dodgers. I mean, the Dodgers are going to be in on him. I don't know. I just thinking that you're going to get somebody in free agency. I don't know. I just don't believe in it. It can happen, but I know if the numbers get too big, they're going to back out. I just don't understand why they didn't go after Soto. I mean, he got pennies on the dollar, really, for a guy of his talent. Pennies on the dollar.
No, they gave up a lot to get Soto. Come on, stop.
No, nobody of any consequence.
Ugh. Okay, sure. But, talking about the Mets, I don't think we've added enough. The offseason's still ongoing, but we've got the highest payroll in the MLB. And you wouldn't think it, right? With how many of these teams have, right? The Yankees are another one of those teams who have, 3 guys making over $300 million plus contracts with Giancarlo Stanton, Garrett Cole, and now Aaron Judge. Right, Aaron Judge signs a huge contract for the New York Yankees.
Bad deal. He's going to be 39 years old, making $40 million a year. No, I would have let him walk. I'd much rather he's 30. He had a career year. And here's the thing. He's been consistent, but last year he was just ridiculous. I mean, I'm sorry. I just think anybody who has a year like that in a walk year, I always look at him a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying? His best year before that was his rookie year when he burst onto the scene. I don't know. I'm just not as big a fan of him as a lot of people are. Certainly not $40 million a year. And then you look at playoffs, right? How'd he do in the playoffs? He's freaking abysmal.
Yeah. Nothing. Okay, though. Let me ask you this. How many of the Yankee players performed in the postseason? Not many. At least batters. Not many batters.
Well, all I'm going to say is he's your big guy. He should do something. Like I said, I mentioned last night on the Islanders Never Say Die podcast that, people we always used to rip Alex Rodriguez. Oh, his poor playoff performance. He was light years better than Aaron Judge has ever been. Light years.
I think that this is interesting, right? When you talk about the contract, 9 years, $360 million contract.
Yeah, and then they do the breakdown. $770,000 a week, $110,000 a day, $4,600 an hour, $76 a minute.
Think about how ridiculous that is. Well, here's the thing. Anytime I look at stuff like that, I think, wow, there's some real disparity amongst these professional athletes and a normal everyday individual. That's for certain. $76 a minute, $76 an hour is impressive, let alone $76 a minute, Grump.
And I don't blame him. I don't either. I guess he turned down more money from the Padres. They were offering $400 million. Wow. And Hal Steinbrenner supposedly called him up and said, don't go there. But do you really look what the Yankees have done this offseason? Nothing. They've done nothing. They re-signed Aaron Judge. Was that good enough to do anything last year in the playoffs?
Well, that's what I think to myself too. With like the Mets and the Yankees, the same exact wavelength. We need to make sure we can try to retain this team who didn't win and is not successful enough to compete at that level.
All right, I'm going to say it's a little bit different because, the Mets got Robertson, which is an addition. They got Verlander. It's an addition. The Yankees have done nothing.
Okay. Well, hold on. We lost DeGrom. DeGrom, as I told you before, is like a net neutral. It's like, okay, we swapped Peter for Paul. Same damn thing. We robbed Peter to pay Paul on that side. And when we look at Robertson, we got a setup man. That wasn't the biggest. We have not addressed the issue. I don't think the Yankees have addressed their issue either. When we talk about teams that are trying to address their issues, look at the freaking Padres. Tell me the Padres don't look unbelievably scary, right? They had obviously Tatis is out all of last year and is going to miss some of this year with the performance enhancing drugs.
At least 2 months.
Yeah. So he's going to miss time still. But they didn't have Tatis at all last year. And what do? Right? They lost at the deadline. They picked up, we picked up not only Soto, but we also picked up Josh Bell. Josh Bell's now gone. But think about this lineup.
They got Hader.
Tatis, Juan Soto, Manny Machado, and Xander Bogaerts. They went ahead and signed him. Huge signing there for them. Jake Cronenworth, Ha-Sung Kim, and then Austin Nola. Yeah, I was about to say Trent Grisham at the back of the lineup there as a guy who could, maybe get on base and go ahead and swipe a few too. The DH to be determined. This lineup, this batting order is scary.
Yeah, I'm not a fan
of Xander. You can't hide anywhere.
All right, I didn't like the Xander Bogaerts deal. 11 years, $280 million.
I was not a fan of it either.
It's like, first of all, he wasn't that good last year. I don't think he's that good. I think he's a guy who benefited playing in Fenway Park. But he's going to be 40 years old when his contract expires. True, it's not $40 million a year, but it's still 26, 27, 28 million. I don't understand. I don't understand how a small market team like San Diego can afford to do that.
Yeah, because all these teams who play small market are not small market because all these owners of these sports organizations are multi-billionaires.
And also coming up, Juan Soto's a free agent in 2 years. Manny Machado can have an opt-out, I believe, after this year.
And if he probably wants to get paid more.
Well, if you're Manny Machado and you're seeing like Xander Bogaerts getting paid that kind of money, would you not say, hey, you know what? I'm going to opt out.
I'd say, hey, I'm opting out. This is the contract I want. If you don't pay that to me, I will go somewhere else. Here's the thing. Manny Machado, I don't think really gives a shit about winning. I mean, hell, he spent how much time in Baltimore? He was just kind of like, for quite some time.
Yeah.
But it's a really, really stout lineup. It's one of the scarier batting orders in baseball right now. And you think about Trey Turner, right? You talk about shortstops. Think about how many big shortstops are on the move.
Let me ask you a question. If you were looking to make your team better, would you want Xander Bogaerts or Trey Turner?
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't come off the hip. And Trey Turner wound up going to the Phillies, but I don't know why they didn't come off the hip and say, yeah, we're willing to fork over another $40 million over the next, however many years. We want Trey Turner, who is a significant upgrade over Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah, I mean, he does everything. And imagine what he'd be like on that team.
Oh,
and I think he signed, what was it, 11 years for $300 million?
I'm trying to get the numbers pulled up, but I think it was around that.
I mean, for $20 million, you got a player who was infinitely better. Now, Xander Bogaerts, good guy in the clubhouse, all that stuff. But still, man, Trey Turner, I just feel is just way better.
Trey Turner, a little younger too. 11 years, $300 million.
Yeah, I mean, that's a guy I would have went after. But what does it say about the Boston Red Sox?
They are second fiddle these days.
That's right. They're cheap.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
They got Chaim Bloom as their general manager who came from Tampa Bay. And it's like they don't re-sign any of their guys. What are they going to do with Rafael Devers?
Let him walk, I guess.
Right? I mean, they let everybody walk. They can't get rid of guys. They sign for long-term. They try to get rid of guys. He thinks playing on the cheap is what works. He doesn't realize he's in Boston. It's not in Tampa Bay. It's a different market.
I tell you, it's hard to believe. And anytime I see these shortstops who every single one of them are better than Francisco Lindor, I see them sign more team better deals than what we got Francisco Lindor for. I just kind of shake my head and go, crap. We really screwed the pooch on that one for the Mets.
It's funny. His best year was the year previous to his walk year in Cleveland. He was electric then.
And Lindor, right? He's younger than all those other guys, but when he originally signed 10 years, $341 million.
I guess you could say that deal is not worth it. Right?
Absolutely not. Especially when Trey Turner's a much, much better shortstop.
And now, in his defense, even though his batting average was crappy last year, he was pretty clutch knocking runs in. One of the only Mets who did that. I think the Mets have a hole in the middle of the order. A big bat would do them, like I said, Soto. That was the guy for me. You're going to wait till Ohtani comes? Well, guess what? Then you're going to lose Marte. He's going to, be getting older. I mean, who knows if the Alvarez kid is going to be anything? You never know. They're prospects.
I think they're very dependent. They're heavily relying upon that. So,
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I don't think they've done enough. I think like teams like the Padres have taken steps in the right direction. Teams like the Mets, the Yanks, we're just kind of wading around in the same water. Who did the right thing? The Mets or the Yankees? I'll let you answer that, says Goon Goon.
Neither. I would have signed DeGrom back. A cheaper deal. I'm not saying that Justin Verlander cannot pitch in New York because I think he's proven that he can pitch anywhere, but it takes a special breed to pitch in New York.
It's not like you're going to visit to pitch in New York. You're pitching in New York half the starts every year, or more than that.
And if things go poorly, the media's all over you and the fans are all over you.
That's what it's like for all New York fan bases and everybody who plays in New York. Just simple as it is. Who did the right thing? Let me ask you this. How much more do you think the Mets or the Yankees will do this offseason, Grumpy?
I don't think I think the Yankees have to do more than they've done. Let me just put it to you that way. I mean, they've done nothing to improve their team. Absolutely nothing. And if they played Houston today, they'd lose a 3-game set. It's just that. Even with Houston losing Verlander, they know what they're doing down there. They just do.
Joseph C. says, hi, guys. The Mets bring back Nimmo. They signed David Robinson and are the favorites for the Japanese ace, Koida Senga.
Kodai Senga. I have no idea if he can pitch. No one knows. For every, I guess, Yu Darvish, who's been above average, there's a Daisuke Matsuzaka.
Daisuke Matsuzaka played well for a limited time.
Yeah. All right. What about the kid in Seattle? He's been a bust.
Who's in Seattle?
I can't even remember. What does that tell you? Japanese kid was supposed to light things up coming over from there. It just.
Yeah, you're talking about Ichiro Suzuki, right?
No, I'm talking about a pitcher. He still pitches for them. I don't know if his name is Iguchi. I don't know what his last name. I forget. I would periodically pick him up in spot matchups for my fantasy baseball team if he was going against Detroit Tigers.
Oh, you're talking about Yusei Kikuchi?
Yeah, that's him.
I couldn't tell you what the numbers are off the top of my head.
What I'm saying is, you don't know how these players are going to perform coming to the United States. I remember Hideki Matsui, who the Yankees picked up. He was known as Godzilla for hitting home runs. Now, he was good for the Yankees, really good. I mean, consistent 300 hitter, but he was no Godzilla. I mean, it was a lot of hype for him. I mean, the one guy who's panned out is Suzuki. Ichiro Suzuki, he's Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But he's been the best player to come out of Japan. It's not even close for second.
Hold on. Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this. Depending on how long Ohtani does it, no?
No.
Oh, fuck. Stop.
No.
I told you before, I think Ohtani, what he's done is Hall of Fame worthy.
Suzuki came over at 28 years old and had over 3,000 hits.
Great. How
he
many?
Had like
I'm not trying to belittle Ichiro Suzuki. Unbelievably talented player. But if you're telling me to pick between who would I pick during a prime, Ichiro Suzuki or Shohei Ohtani, it's Ohtani.
Yeah, you never even seen Suzuki play.
Oh, stop.
Right.
Stop. Anyway, so showing it, that's Kikuchi's stats.
This guy's been great.
So great.
He's been great for them.
He's no longer with the Mariners either.
Yeah.
So, yikes. Yeah. I mean, like, you never know what you're getting. But again, like, okay, Mets going to get the ace there, pitcher. I think to myself, I'm like, what is the real need this team has?
A big bat outfielder in the middle of the lineup. That's what they need. That's what they needed at the deadline. It's what they still need now. They went at the deadline. They got Vogel back and they got Ruff. Why? Neither one of them did anything. Certainly in big moments.
What I keep, kind of going back to when you talk about the postseason in MLB, your starting pitchers are pitching your big three or big four, pretty much playing all the games. Your bottom of the rotation don't really see the light of day unless they're coming in a long-term relief role. You're pretty much pitching, hey, my starting pitcher's going out there pitching 3-4 innings, and I'm kind of cycling through my starting pitchers. You can rely. We've got good top two, a great top two unbelievable aces that are also extremely old. You worry about their ability to hold up. The one thing we don't have is batting, and I just don't think we've addressed it. And we're going to add another pitcher. Okay, I'm not saying it's not going to help, but you need to add bats to the lineup.
The game has changed, and you're going to see now they're kind of banning the shift, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah.
If a team can defense a batter, they should be able to do it.
Yeah. Gugun says, Grumpy, since you're now a Carolina man, you were never tempted to jump ship to the Canes, the Hurricanes, I guess.
No.
And Andrew L says, Nimmo is absolutely not a Jag.
Okay. What does he do that's special? What are his numbers? TJ, pull his numbers up.
Brandon Nimmo, his numbers are not great.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He does more. He's an all-around guy. He's an all-around player. Good defensively, can move well. And you look at it, right? Going into the contract year, I wouldn't necessarily call that killing it. 274, 16 homers, 102 RBI or 102 runs, and 64 RBIs.
Yeah, he's
not just saying, right? You have obviously the COVID year, which is a shortened year, but look how many he's injured 2021, 2019, injury, 2017, injury. I'm like, look at the injuries. I don't know.
To me, I mean, he's not a bad player, but does he blow your skirt up? Not me. I was surprised he got 8 years. I just don't understand it. I would have won a different route. What about you, TJ?
I would. Again, like, I still think there's time left. Just unsatisfactory, if I put it in one word. Joseph C. said, the Mets were 5th in the majors in runs scored last year. They need a middle-of-the-order bat, but their offense is solid.
That's it. That's exactly what they need. A guy in the middle of an outfielder in the middle of the order. That's what they need. Like I said, I thought Soto was perfect for them.
Let me ask you this. And like, you think about Pete Alonso had an unbelievable year last year. You talk about the RBIs, right? What, did he break the record for the most RBIs in a single season for Mets?
I don't know. Probably.
Unbelievable year. Do I expect him? He had over 100. He had 131 RBIs.
Yeah, that's the most for a Met with that.
Am I thinking that he's going to do that and replicate that next year? Probably not.
No.
So like, we're talking about runs in. I look at certain things that are not at sustainable levels. And Pete Alonso had a fantastic year. 40 homers, which is a personal high for him. 271 batting average, fantastic for him. 95 runs, personal best for him. 131 RBIs, personal best for him. I don't know.
He had a career year, but why? They had guys. Starling Marte.
He really helped out. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We missed him. We definitely missed him down the stretch.
And, that broken finger, that was devastating for the Mets. It really was. I know people don't like Escobar. I like him. I like the makeup of their team. I just thought they needed one big bat in the middle, outfielder.
I'm sorry, by the way. His rookie year, Alonso had more runs, more home runs. I'm just looking at the stats there. More runs, more home runs. But since that, I still could consider this a career year for him. Yeah, he hit 13 more home runs his rookie year. The batting average is better. His strikeouts were a lot less than they were his rookie season. I don't know. I was extremely excited, pleased with what I saw with Pete Alonso. I thought it was his best year for the Mets. So, I don't know. I don't know, Grumpy. It has not been the offseason that we needed. I think because we lost Jacob deGrom and replaced him with Verlander, I just kind of go, yeah.
Verlander's 40. deGrom's 34. I know there's the injury concerns. I understand that. But if you're looking to somebody on a big day, all right, there's somebody I need to go out there and put up consistent effort. Who's it going to be? It's going to be deGrom or Verlander. They're close, but I take the younger guy and more years as opposed to the older guy.
On a 2-year item. Andrew says Ohtani is coming next year.
We'll see.
I'll wait till I see it. I hope so. Joseph C. said, Look, we won 101 games last year with Scherzer missing 2 months and DeGrom not throwing a regular season pitch till August. Well, hold on. We made the postseason. I can give shit about that. The expectation is with that when you have the highest payroll in baseball, you should be making the postseason. The issue is, what do we do in the postseason? That's the issue. I mean, like just like with the Islanders, the goal of this Mets team, when you're spending more money than any other team in the MLB right now on payroll, your objective is to win the World Series. Anything else but that is a failure.
True.
I just think other teams have better lineups with less money used, which is the odd thing about it. Alexander says it's ridiculous that they give Nimmo this much. He's not worth it.
Just think about how much money they're paying to Verlander and Scherzer. It's $80 million a year. Those two guys, 38-year-old and the 40-year-old.
Yeah. How's that
$80 million a year just for those two guys.
Tony Chi said, a few teams out here trying to buy a World Series. And the Mets are trying.
Mm-hmm. And how much a year does Lindor make?
Like 34 million and change.
So 34. So you're talking about almost $115 million between three players. Think about that.
Nimmo had interest from almost every team and is the best outfielder on the market after Judge.
Tells you it's a weak market.
Yep. It's like talk about the shortstops. This is the year to freaking get a shortstop. Holy shit.
The game has changed since, I want to say, the last 10 years, but really the last 5. It used to be shortstops were like you had to be able to field, and if you could hit, it was a bonus. That's not the way it is now. It's like all shortstops can hit, every single one of them. Totally different.
Yeah. Think about how many legitimate shortstops there are out there in the market this year. It's
Carlos Correa is still out there.
Exactly. He's still out there. I don't know.
To me, I'm not a fan of Correa.
I like Correa. I know you don't.
He's always hurt. Always hurt. Has he ever? I think one year he's played a full season, or maybe 132 games. He's always hurt. Even this year, man, he was hurt a lot. He signed with Minnesota on that 1 year prove it deal, and he didn't prove it, but it doesn't matter. It looks like he's going to get big money. I just think he's overrated. TJ, you do realize that you're not on the screen, right?
Yeah, yes, I do, Grumpy.
Okay.
Trust me, I'm trying to get it fixed out. Okay. Joseph C says Nimmo over Yoshida.
How do you know?
I hope so.
We don't know. I don't know anything about Yoshida.
Yeah. Alexander also says, but I hope you guys are doing well. The Mets have done nothing to upgrade the bats.
True. Very true.
It's the biggest need we've got. We're doing well. Hopefully you are too, Alexander. Tony Chi says, where the F is Drew? Please, Cohen would give Ohtani his daughter and $500 million.
Well,
Ohtani, Grump.
I guarantee you the Dodgers will be bidding on him. And maybe he likes living out in Southern California. I mean,
Perhaps.
Who knows?
Perhaps he does.
Wouldn't you want to be out there in California if you could? Beautiful weather all year long. Well, if you make that much money, it doesn't matter. What else is going on out there. So, but think about it. It is a beautiful area. Andrew L says, look at Nimmo, Baseball Savant's numbers, a lot more red than blue, which is good. I don't care about that. I watch a guy, I'm like, okay, are you clutched in the big moments? Can I count on you? Can you stay on the field? I think he's a pretty good fielder. I think he's a pretty good fielding outfielder.
I think he's an all-around outfielder.
But he's just, he's kind of like Brett Gardner with a little bit more pop.
And half the speed.
Yeah.
Brett Gardner used to swipe a lot of bases back in his day, did he not?
Yeah, no. He never stole as much as he should have. I don't know if he didn't get the green light or whatever. But the Yankees never trying to manufacture runs, so.
Hold on. Brett Gardner had 49 stolen bases one year, led the MLB in stolen bases.
Yeah, but not every year. That was early in his career, right?
27 years old. 26, okay. He had 47 stolen bases. When he's 28, he only played 16 games before injury. He's always guys 20, consistently around 20 stolen bases. A few years a lot higher than that. He had years before where he had 20 plus home runs too. 2 years with 20 plus home runs.
So that comparison's pretty accurate then.
I'd say they're pretty close. 250 batter, maybe a little more stolen bases for, Gardner, maybe, power numbers, maybe a little bit more in Gardner's favor. I think average a little bit more in Nimmo's favor. But yeah, again, like he's a steady Eddie.
Yeah, steady Eddie. That's right. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not enamored with that signing. If that's your big offseason move, signing your guys back, I don't know. Says, can you imagine TJ is saying someone doesn't speak English well?
I'm talking about Tony.
Well, TJ can speak English well. It's just the reading that gives him problems.
Joseph C. here says,
the Nats weren't trading Soto in the division, Grump. If they did, you would have to do that at a premium as opposed to other teams. Why? The Nationals aren't going to be in contention for anything for another 10 years. They've gutted that team. They won a World Series, and they tore it down to the studs. That's what they did.
Yep.
They're terrible.
Goon. Grumpy.
Who tended to get hot under the collars a tad too quickly? Tommy DeVito, Johnny Lawrence, or Jonathan Rambo? Oh, it's got to be Tommy DeVito. Without a doubt. You know what movie Tommy DeVito was in?
No, couldn't tell you.
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. Hold on, Grumpy. Here we go. Let's get this. Here we go. My God, I was having tech issues.
Maybe we should go back to the black screen.
Frank says, what's up? What's up, Frank? How are you? He's like, sorry, he's making 100 meatballs from scratch. Damn, party at Frank's house. Go get yourself some meatballs. Gugu says, speaking of Tommy DeVito, did Spider do the right thing standing up for him?
Hindsight being 2020, I'd say the answer is no.
I don't even know what that is.
Hop that drink over here. Goodfellas.
I've never seen Goodfellas.
He's like, you don't remember that scene? The guy who played Christopher Montalsanti in The Sopranos was tending bar at a card game with Robert De Niro and Ray Liotta and Joe Pesci. Playing Jimmy Conway was DeVito. Tommy was Joe Pesci, and Henry Hill was Ray Liotta. You never seen Goodfellas?
Correct. Never.
Well, you're going to be watching Goodfellas. I'm just going to tell you.
You'll like it. Says Nicky Santoro.
Nicky Santoro. You know what movie he was from?
Couldn't tell you.
Casino.
Tony Cheese also says, I feel like we got a few Italian men here in the comments.
Or guys who know Italian movies.
Joseph C said DeGrom and Verlander are only net neutrals if DeGrom can stay healthy. Yeah, but here's the thing:
if DeGrom is healthy,
he's
better than Verlander. He's healthy
at this age. At this stage of his career,
Verlander had a tremendous year last year, coming off of Tommy John surgery, without a doubt. Also helped that he played for Houston.
Yep. I think about this too. When you're playing, when you have run support behind you, it allows you to pitch with more freedom too.
Yeah.
I think that's why DeGrom pitches so well in the postseason, because he's so used to just always having to work extremely hard and labor for everything out there. Verlander made more starts last year than DeGrom did combined in 2021, 2022.
Well, because he was out those years. I mean, come on, Joseph. See, that.
Alexander says it's only to save this offseason is to sign Carlos Correa. TJ, you think all that Machado cares about is the money? I think so. I think all of these athletes really care mostly about the money. If you're not in the right neighborhood, they're not entertaining it. And he also says Turner always wanted to go to Philly.
What the hell's wrong with him?
Why the
hell
don't
want to go to Philadelphia?
To Philly. Here it is. Andrew L said the Padres did throw a shit ton at Trey Turner. Obviously not enough.
I mean, the Padres are in it to win it. Let's give them credit. As a Padre fan, they're going after everybody.
D-Cut says the word is that Trey Turner did not want to play on the West Coast anymore. Turned down a deal from Seattle. I know it's like he said that she said shit. So it's just tough to know. Like you see all those rumors. Oh, we were in on it. Grumpy, what's the score of the game?
No, I was looking at something. Alexander put out a tweet.
Oh,
Goodfellas bar scene.
Oh God. Alexander says either Correa or JD Martinez.
Oh, JD
JD
Martinez.
Martinez
No,
is
no,
finished.
no. He's cashed.
Yeah, I'd have no interest in JD Martinez. 2 or 3 years too late. Alexander says, no, it's not. Rather have Rosario. And the other kid we traded along with Rosario. Yeah, because we did make yeah, I remember talking about that. Talked about that a little bit yesterday. And Francisco Alvarez is going to be a star. Joseph C says Trey Turner is better offensively than Francisco Lindor, but not by much. Lindor is a
Oh,
much better. Hold on.
I
Hold on.
disagree.
Trey Turner is a miles better than Francisco Lindor offensively. It's not even close. They're not in the same stratosphere.
And he's a really good field. All right, he can play outfield, shortstop, second.
Yeah.
Trey Turner can play anywhere out in the field. He's good.
Absolutely. I was about to say he's no slouch when it comes to being able to field.
No. I'd take Turner over Lindor any day of the week. So would everybody else in Major League Baseball.
Absolutely. I mean, think about how many years in a row has Trey Turner batted for like over 300 or right around that 300. I couldn't tell you.
He periodically has injury issues.
Yes,
but seems like he's overcome that the last couple of years.
He's got a career batting average of 298.
What's
I'm sorry, 302 career batting average.
And what's Lindor's?
260. I think that's overselling it.
I'm adding in the Cleveland years because he hasn't been anything. He hasn't been anything.
Years where he hit like 220 here or 230. He had years where he was abysmal.
Yeah, I mean, but in Cleveland, he had, except for his last year in Cleveland, he was pretty good batting average wise.
277.
There you go. Career 277.
Career 277.
Okay, but look at his numbers with the Mets, and then look what they were in Cleveland.
230 232 years ago and 270 with the Mets last year.
Oh, wait, 270 last year. I thought his numbers were lower than that. I stand corrected.
He got off to a really quick start, I think, if I recall that right. But I'm like, Trey Turner, you look at the averages over a 162 game season, consists 112 run average, 83 RBIs, 24 home runs, hitting 302 with 44 stolen bases on average. I don't know. In the batting category, it definitely goes to Trey Turner to me.
Yeah. Now, scoring runs has a lot to do with what kind of team you play for and stuff like that.
Correct.
But here's the thing. He gets on base. He steals bases. He can manufacture runs with his feet. He's good, really good. I'd almost say he's underrated, to be honest with you.
I like Trey Turner a lot. And his injuries are fluky ones where it's like, oh, a pitch hit his hand and he broke a thumb. You know what I mean? Like that shit like that is not like, I don't know. You talk about the injuries too. He played 160 games last year. 2 years ago, played 148. During a COVID year, he played 59. Then he played 122. The guy is consistently playing.
Yeah, the 122 years is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Hold on. Did you just get an update on your phone? Something new happened?
Nope.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Jewel says, hello, TJ and Grumpy. TJ, I know I was trolling you on fantasy, but I did want to face you over Grant. It only would have made the win that much sweeter and more funny.
My team, I just start the wrong players all the time. Poor management on my side. And that's the league where I've done the worst in, is our league. I'm like, I lost 6 games in a row or 5 games in a row. I'm out here. Get it together with friends. Alexander says, according to my sources, honestly, guys, DeGrom was gone because DeGrom and Alderson there, Sandy Alderson,
never got along, and DeGrom wanted Alderson gone. And the moment that Cohen moved Alderson to an advisor role, DeGrom was gone. I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know about that. So as an advisor, he's not the GM. I mean, he's not paying the money. They tried to lowball him is what they tried to do. I mean, he got paid so much more at Texas.
And we still managed to have a higher pay. We paid Verlander more a year than we did.
I just thought, it reminds me when the Islanders lost Okposo and Nielsen and they signed Andrew Ladd. Very, very similar to something like that. Oh, my God, we have to do a panic move now. Let's sign Justin Verlander, who's 40 years old. And he was great last year, but he's 40. He's 40. And it's different pitching in New York than it is in Houston. It's colder. It's wetter. Who knows how it's going to be?
He pitched in Detroit back in the day, but that was many years ago. A long time ago, many years ago.
And he wasn't great in Detroit for a lot of the years.
Max Scherzer used to pitch in Detroit too, didn't he?
Yep.
Drew L's got a comment there for you, Grumpy.
I mean, Sia Suzuki didn't exactly light things up either, but he was good. He was good the first 3 weeks of the season, first month. And then he settled down. They learned what he couldn't do. And then he picked it up a little bit at the end.
Got another comment here from Drew L. Grumpy.
I think my Knicks could possibly be turning the corner. They're not. That old fart Tom Thibodeau stopped doing a 10-man rotation and went to a 9-man and did not play certain players. We've beaten Cleveland and became Trey's something.
I'll tell you this. Alexander says, Grump, TJ likes power hitters and guys that can hit the ball over the fence. Either like somebody who can get on base a lot, steal bases, or somebody who can knock the shit out of that ball. Like one or two things. I mean, 5-star guys don't grow on trees. You don't run across a lot of guys who are hitting 300 with 30-plus home runs year in, year out. Goon Grumpy.
What's the superior slice? Neapolitan, Sicilian, or Grandma? Depends on the place you go.
I don't know. Sicilian, right?
Sicilian's the thick, and it depends on where you go. Some places the bread's too thick, which I'm not interested in eating a loaf of bread with a little bit of sauce on it and some cheese. Grandma's is good, but I don't like the way they cook them. I like a regular Neapolitan pizza on Grandma crust is always good. And then, of course, you just have the classic crust, which is fine. It all depends on where you go.
Alexander, they're Grumpy.
The only thing that Nimmo does is work the counts and make pitchers work. Yeah, he's like Brett. He's like Brett Gardner. I'm glad that was a pretty good analogy by me, Brett Gardner.
I like that. I like that analogy too. Brett Gardner. Goon Grumpy, you got another comment there for you.
Nemo runs hard to first when he walks, a la Pete Rose. Was that why he received a few more million or a few extra years? I'm stunned they gave him 8 years. I would thought for a guy like that, maybe 4 years, 15 million per. I don't think he's that great. I think he's just a guy.
Just another guy. Let's get, I know we can go through some comments. I want to talk a little bit about some items on the docket for today. We talked a little baseball, which I wanted to speak to you about. Also, Grump, got some World Cup action. Since the last time, I guess, Morocco beat Spain. Who would have ever thought that was going to be the situation?
Spain outplayed them by a ton. But when it goes to shootout, anything can happen. And it sure enough did.
Now, I'm not sure if you happen to see.
I did see it.
Hakimi scored, or he hit
Doing
the
the waddle.
winning penalty kick, and he did the waddle. So apparently, this is a little celebration him and Sergio Ramos do together. They do the little waddle, like the penguin, like Waddle does.
It's stupid. It's stupid when they do it.
It's not the same.
No, Waddle does it because that's his name. It's really good. These guys, they're just copycats. Sorry.
Well, this is what it says. Atroff wrote Sergio Ramos is the best defender in the world the day Luis Enrique left him out of Spain's World Cup squad. So the reason I guess he celebrated like that was to kind of pay homage to Sergio Ramos being left out of the Spain roster. I did find that kind of funny.
So Enrique got canned?
Yes. Enrique's gone.
Can't lose to Morocco.
Yeah. Can't do that. So Enrique was gone. Obviously, that was a big win. Portugal started firing on all cylinders, had a huge victory over Switzerland. Not to be, it wasn't a surprise or a shock on that one.
After benching Cristiano Ronaldo.
I thought that was still a bad decision.
It was not, because the guy they put in for him scored 3 goals.
Okay. Bad decision.
I'm
you don't bench the GOAT, Grump. You don't do that.
Okay. Here's the thing. He's not the player he was. It brought balance to their system. This other kid presses, comes back defensively. It's not something Cristiano does anymore. Just isn't. It was a good fit for the team. I think you're going to see this kid start again. If you're the coach and a guy gets a hat trick, are you going to bench him the next day? You're not. You're not.
I don't know. The fact that Cristiano was benched to begin with was freaking baffling to me.
He had a couple of chances when he finally came on, and I think he will play. He'll come on with 20 minutes to go, and if they need a goal, I feel like he'll get it for them. But I just don't think he can play at the level and the intensity that he has in the past for the full 90 anymore. It's not a crime. He's 37 years old. You have to run the whole game. It's just very, very difficult.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about these upcoming matchups. Tomorrow, right? We've got two big matchups. You've got the Netherlands against Argentina, Grumpy. I want to hear your take on that. Who wins?
Netherlands. Argentina has not been impressive. It's what they always are. They're just meh. I mean, they got a lot of great players on the team, always have, but they're just not clutch. I think they'll lose to the Netherlands. Louis van Gaal is a great coach. I think Netherlands moves on. They have not lost under him in a year and a half, by the way. 19 straight games without a defeat.
Mm. Then you've got later on in the day,
Brazil.
Croatia against Brazil.
Now, Croatia, the last, I think, 6 times they've played in the knockout stage have all gone to extra times. They're a tough team to beat. Brazil, I think Brazil's going to take them down, though. I don't think this one goes to extra time.
Brazil, I think, is the best team in the tourney.
They are the best team in the tournament. And now they're getting Neymar's back. They're getting Alexandro back. They're going to be fine.
I think Brazil, and when we talk about I will be interested to see how Gopko plays, how that Netherlands team plays. There's a lot of ifs in that game, I think. I think the more interesting game to watch is going to be the morning game, Netherlands against Argentina.
I agree.
Then you got
Argentina and Netherlands is the late game.
They're the evening game.
Yes.
Okay, that's odd. I'm sorry. I know France and England, I believe, they're the morning game. They've got on Saturday. I mean, you've got France, England, Grumpy. Is England taking football back? Are they bringing football back?
Back where? I mean, France is winning that game.
It's always a little saying they've got bringing football back.
France is the only team that I think has a legitimate shot to beat Brazil.
And that's a 2 p.m. game, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, England against France.
Right. Yeah, that's the late game. Yes.
I don't know why they flip-flop the time based off the days, but fair enough.
Because they put the better matchup on in the afternoon as opposed to 9 o'clock in the morning.
And you've got Morocco against Portugal.
Portugal will beat Morocco.
Fair enough. I pretty much agree across the board. Got a little bet going on with Handy Francis. I'm riding with the boys from France. A very, very talented, strong team. But want to get back to some comments here. Because it's going to be great. World Cup football only has a few more matches left, and the games and the intensity of these games continue to rise week by week, grumpy old man, and game by game. DeGrom doesn't like appearing in winning World Series games. Verlander clearly does.
No comment.
You don't have an opinion on that?
No.
What do you mean?
I don't have an opinion on that.
I don't know what to say.
It's too ridiculous for me to even have an opinion on.
Houston was a much better team than the Mets year in and year out.
Well, but he says DeGrom doesn't like appearing nor winning World Series games.
Correa will move to third base if we got him to play with Lindor.
Has he told you that, Alexander?
What are you doing, Grumpy? What's up your ass, huh?
Nothing. Players don't like to change positions. A-Rod did. He's the only guy. You bring in a guy who makes big money like that, he's going to play where he wants to play. He's not going to the Mets. I
don't think so either. D-Cut says Brave shortstop is still out there as well.
Danby Swanson, he's a cut below the other guys, though.
I'd agree with that. Yeah. I'll just get something up like this. Not a great angle, but whatever. Got a camera up. Danby Swanson is also out there. Haven't heard a peep about him at all.
He'll get overpaid as well.
Goon Grumpy's got a comment there for you.
Michael Conforto has seemingly transformed into Casper. Is he now officially a sad sack? He hasn't signed with anyone yet, has he, TJ? I don't think he has.
No, he hasn't. Remember, he was holding out there and then wound up getting injured. And then he had to have that surgery and didn't play at all last year.
Yeah. So I think probably teams are going to wait to see if he's healthy. I think it's going to go just like last year. He's going to wait to go into the regular season or training camp, See if he can get healthy and see if somebody will sign him. Okay, well, TJ's wandering away. So let's see if I can pick up where the comments were. I don't know where he was. Oh, here we go. Okay. Frank from Empire State says, Grumpy Old Man, enlighten TJ and tell him about the movie True Romance with Walken and Hopper. He's not here. We'll talk about that later. Alexander says, Casino, great movie. Should have never killed the big boss. Very true. Goon says, TJ, pull up the TJ Spider scene from Goodfellas. It'll make you a believer, and who knows, may bring the Islanders some luck. That was a great scene, by the way. Frank at Empire State says, where did the Padres get all that money from? That's what a lot of people are asking. But, I mean, they could be losing Machado next offseason. They could be losing Soto in 2 years. Who knows what's going to happen with them. And Grump wanted to show TJ that scene. Yes, that was the spider scene. True. I don't know. I mean, it's got the language in there, so I don't know if he'd want to post that up there. Frank of Empire State says, once again, DeGrom looks horrible in that Rangers uniform. Yeah, nobody looks good in the Rangers uniform. Much better in a Met uni, and I'm a Yankees fan. The Yankees have the best uniforms, man. The pinstripes are the best. Blims says, thoughts on John Heyman, Arson Judge. I didn't hear that he said that. But I'm going to tell you what, I don't like the Aaron Judge deal. I just don't. I don't think he's worth that. I don't think he's going to age well. Maybe I'm just not a big fan of Aaron Judge. I think he's a good player, but they never won anything with him. Sorry. Empire State Frank says, just saw a True Romance Sicilian scene between Walken and Hopper. Oh my gosh, TJ, put that up. Drew L says, does anyone even care about the Raiders game? I think the Raiders are going to win that game. They're quietly creeping into the playoff picture. I think they won 4 in a row, and after tonight it'll be 5. I think they're going to beat the Rams. Alexander asked about a supreme slice. I like my pizza just cheese and, sauce. Well done. That's good. That's how you know it's really good. Paulo C says, talking NFL, I like the Bengals Burrow in a fire, on fire, beat Kansas City again. My early prediction, the Bengals will win the Super Bowl last year, was no fluke, and they made it there. Watch out for the Bengals. I think with Lamar Jackson going to be out a few weeks, I think the Bengals take over that division, and Kansas City does not want to play them. I think Buffalo doesn't want to play them either. That's somebody that you want to play in the championship game. They're good, and Burrow is really good. He reminds me a little bit of Brady with his ability to come back. And speaking about, there goes thoughts on Blims said thoughts about Brady to the Seahawks. That's not happening. But we can talk a little bit about the hero of the people and just another tremendous comeback, breaking Peyton Manning's last record that he ever had in the NFL, which was fourth quarter comebacks. Brady now has 44. And considering the clown show that he's dealing with, it was truly amazing. I mean, they're so undisciplined. The coaching staff is hideous. I don't know how they did. I didn't think there was any chance. No chance.
You talking about Tom Brady, again, Grumpy?
Yes, here we go. Okay, here we go. Gungun says, Tom Brady can only truly be crowned the greatest if he demands to join the Jets next year and rescues the franchise from purgatory. If anyone could do it, it would be him. That's it. It's the only hope the Jets have. He's not going to New York, though.
Freaking Jets. Look at me.
Maybe he goes to play with Josh McDaniel and the Raiders.
Ugh, that's originally where he tried to go, right?
I think he wanted to go to San Francisco.
Well, that's what the Raiders were what what's his face talked about.
Dana White.
Daniel White talked about. So
yeah, Dana White. Him and Gronk.
Yeah.
He seems like a bit of a goof, though. Dana White.
Dana White's not a goof. Not at all.
So he's brokering deals in the NFL. Is that what's happening?
Do you pay attention to anything Dana White does?
I don't care what Dana White does.
No.
I don't care. Here's the thing. When Dana White If he wants to do UFC stuff, yes, I'll believe him there. He's not a power broker in the NFL. He's just not.
He's a guy who's got a lot more pull than you believe.
He's in the freaking UFC. Has nothing to do with the NFL. Nothing.
Do you not think he has inside knowledge of what's going on in the NFL?
No. I think he's a clown. I think he's a clown. He's a showman. He's a showman. He's good at what he does, but he's not a power broker in the NFL. I'll stand by that comment.
I'm glad you're finally waking up a little bit. First thing you get, I'm shocked you didn't have a no comment on that one. Little no comment there, Grumpy. No comment tour. Yeah.
No comment on your no comment.
Yeah. Yeah. Blimps. No. Judge not going to the Padres. What is this fella? Speaking of Trae Young, apparently he's just having a hissy fit with the coach, putting all the Knicks bias aside. He's just so unlikable. I don't know. Plays well. That's all that matters. Portugal is going to win it all. I'll party for a week.
I'll tell you what. When the other kid was in there, they seemed a more well-rounded team.
Or maybe Switzerland was just a really shitty opponent, and they beat the living shit out of Switzerland. You ever think that's the possibility too?
Switzerland has historically handled Portugal for the most part. They played them twice in the run-up to the World Cup, and they split games.
Okay. The reason why Portugal's playing well right now, during the run-up, Bruno Fernandes, Grumpy, was fucking atrocious. He's had a really good World Cup. He was atrocious leading up to the World Cup. Absolutely miserable. Guess what? João Felix was miserable leading up to the World Cup. Those younger players, the more season they get, the better they play.
They had Diego Jota, who was really good in the run-up.
I never liked Diego Jota. Absolutely.
Well, you might not like him. You might not like him, but that doesn't mean that he wasn't playing well in the run-up to the Cup. He got hurt.
Okay, sure. He played well for Liverpool. He didn't play well for the nation. He played well for Liverpool, not for the nation.
Oh, I disagree. I mean, here's the thing. If he doesn't get hurt, the kid who started the other night and had the hat trick probably doesn't even make the team. He's 21 years old. He plays for Benfica. I'll tell you what, he was really good the other day. And let's say you're a head coach and you make a move like that. And
if I was a head coach, I never would have taken that Cristiano. That's the first issue.
Okay.
That little spat. I didn't like how he walked off the pitch. He's your fucking leader. He's the only reason your ass has a job, buddy. The only reason your ass had a job. All those lean years you were able to survive was off the back of one man.
Okay. That's true. But guess what?
And you know what? As soon as you face a little adversity, now we're turning our back on you. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
About the here and now.
Disgusting.
This kid absolutely deserves another start. You score a hat trick, you're not sitting the next game. I'm telling you right now, that kid will start. Cristiano will come off the bench.
Disgusting.
That's what's going to happen.
Absolutely disgusting, Grumpy. And Gungun says, Grumpy, is it hard to take the music of Ted Nugent seriously after years of salty statement, controversial comments, and vicious views?
No.
I don't even know.
It has no bearing at all on his ability to. Well, I don't think he can write songs anymore. I'm also a proponent of you only have so many songs in you, and then you're just out of things to write about.
Mario says, wrong, Grumpy. Spain hogged the ball for most of the game. Meaningless, toothless possession. Ineffective, dull, boring, ball hugging, east to west passing. Japan unmasked them. Oh, Mario, all these guys are the Japan club.
Japan
club. Yeah. They're remember, I mean, think about this.
Japan they're a zero squad, man. And you know what? You know where they are? They're back on a plane to Japan. Hey, Tokyo International, we're on our way back because we suck.
D-Cut says it's 2022 and TJ can't find a camera that works. Ooh. Yeah. I don't want to come off the hip for another one. That's the issue. And this one's older. So Paulo C said it's going to be Portugal versus Argentina in the finals. Ronaldo against Messi.
There's no way that Argentina makes the finals. No way. Now, Portugal, if they get a little bit of depth, if they get a little bit of luck, I think they win tomorrow. They're going to need some luck to beat France. I think they would beat England, but I think they'd need some luck to beat France.
Andrew L. Thank you, Andrew L. Come on, Grump. Dana White is not a showman. That's what I say. Grumpy, when he says that shit, has no idea. He's never watched anything UFC, never watched anything Dana White, has no idea. All he sees is little headlines. Who is this crazy guy who wants to fight where they can kick each other? Yeah, that's what Grumpy's. That's the type of mentality Grumpy's.
He's not an NFL power broker, period. End of sentence, end of story. He's not. I think he likes to likes to run his mouth. That's what he's good at. He's good at it. He's a promoter.
That is
he's
true.
A freaking promoter. He's a promoter. That's what he is. He's a promoter. He's a UFC promoter. That's what he is. Nothing else.
Guess
he
what?
does it
He's
well.
close to Brady.
That's what he does.
He also has a heavy influence in Vegas.
Nothing.
Very true, Andrew.
Nothing.
Very true. Grumpy wrong on this one.
You know what? You know what he doesn't have any influence on? The Raiders. That's where he has no influence.
Frank says here, Jota is good, TJ. I'm not a big Diego Jota fan. Miserable.
Maybe we should have Dana White tell you how good he is. Then you'd say he was great.
What are you talking about?
You know, you're just so typical. All you little
I'm just glad you finally woke up. I'm glad you finally woke up.
All you little Gen Zers, whatever Gen X, whatever you are, whatever that little, whatever little word they like to put by you. Somebody hypes somebody up. Oh, that means they're great. Ooh.
I'm glad somebody finally woke you up. Maybe it's at halftime of the game. Maybe that's why we got your attention. D-Cut says Baker Mayfield doing Baker Mayfield things. Started tonight on Los Angeles. Has 3 points at half. The XFL in 2 years, in my opinion. 2 years, I think less than that. And I don't even know if he'll go there. I think when he's done in the NFL, he'll be one of those guys who's just done. I'm not sure. I've never thought anything of Baker Mayfield, as I've made it very, very well known on the show. Just like I don't think much of Kyler Murray. Some quarterbacks just don't have it. Baker never did.
Cleveland ruined him.
Baker never had it, dude. Baker never had it.
4 different offensive coordinators in 4 years. Tough to play.
I hope they play Ronaldo and the kid together, but they won't. Well, they've got João Felix. They're not going to sit him. Ramos is, I mean, like, you know, he played well.
He was really good yesterday. He deserves another start.
The problem I have with that is when moments get big, you're running a kid from freaking Benfica, 21-year-old from Benfica, saying, here you go. I know when things get huge and crazy important because we are now in the freaking quarterfinals of the World Cup. And as opportunities are not as often, you can't be fucking missing them. Who has a higher likelihood of missing opportunities? 21-year-old Benfica product or Cristiano Ronaldo?
Well, that's why you bring Cristiano in the second half.
Oh, okay, great. So we could just miss about 3 or 4 opportunities early on in the game and not worry about it because we'll get him back later. We'll get him back later, Grumpy. That's a good point. Get it back.
Here's the thing. I'd rather have Cristiano fresh at the end in a tight match.
He's fresh the whole freaking game.
He's not fresh the whole game. He can't run anymore. Just can't.
Andrew L. said he's not even the one that brought the topic of Brady to the Raiders on TV. It was Gronk. That's right. And Grumpy's memory fails him, and he just doesn't like Dana White. John McManaman says, what a great T-shirt you're wearing, Grumpy.
Thank you, John.
Andrew L. said he doesn't brag or talk much about stuff that is commonly you're just pulling shit out of your ass. At this point, Grumpy, sorry.
Dana White's a promoter. He's a promoter. That's what he is. Nothing else, nothing less. He's a promoter. He owns UFC and he's a promoter. He's like Vince McMahon. That's what he is. He's a promoter.
Did you happen to see about Andrew Luck made comments to the media for the first time in a long time?
I saw it, but I did not read it.
Real quick, Frank does say, I agree, Grumpy Man. I like Ronaldo fresh for the second half.
Yes.
I don't know.
They have a better shape when the kid is in the game, period.
Andrew Luck addressed me the first time since retiring. He said, I regret the timing of when I retired. That's about his biggest regret of his career. Yeah. The thing that just was always so odd about that. Remember, he retired. Was it during training camp?
I think so, yes.
During preseason. Do you remember the timeline of that? Did he retire in preseason or how did that happen?
I think it was, well, I don't think he played. They were planning on him coming back and he just said, no, I can't do it.
Yeah, he retired in August of 2019. So, I mean, like that was August, September. I mean, like football's
that's just before the season starts.
I think that was right after the preseason.
But I don't think he actually played in the preseason though. I think I just can't do it.
He was part of the team, I believe. He was on. He was there. He obviously, he is remorseful about that, and it's the biggest regret he has. I don't know. I I always have thought that that entire situation was an odd one, and that year's draft class was a very odd draft class. That 2012 draft class, if you think about it, Robert Griffin III was the second guy off the board, another guy whose career was maligned with injuries. Who knows what Robert Griffin could have been?
Yeah, well, he was great that first year running around, but he was always so thin. Guys like that get hurt. That's what
Yeah.
happened to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree with you there, but I'm just saying, you think about it, it's an odd one. Trent Richardson went third overall too. You just look at that. You look at that draft class, how many busts there were, and some of them due to injuries as
Well,
well.
that's
But
that's the whole thing. If you're injured, you're not a bust. If you get injured, they're not a bust because a bust means somebody who doesn't perform. Tony Mandrich was a bust back in the day for the Green Bay Packers. But if you got like Steve Entman, who played for Indianapolis, was the first overall pick out of Washington. He was really good his first year and a half, and then or 2 years. Then he gets the knee injury, and he's never the same. That doesn't make him a bust. It just means that injuries ended his career.
mm,
I mean, injuries, particularly in football.
Matt Khalil was the fourth overall pick. Look at this draft class. I'm about to pull it up
Matt
on screen.
Khalil was really good.
Not the Matt Khalil you're thinking of. Matt Khalil, who played last in 2017. So he played only 5 years in the NFL. Let me pull that up. Yeah, it
No,
is. Yes, yes, yes.
no. This is Ryan Khalil was the one who played. Matt Khalil played for Minnesota. Ryan Khalil played for the Panthers.
Yeah, Matt Khalil wound up playing 5
Matt
years.
Khalil played a lot of years for them.
Played 5 years in the NFL. Matt Khalil played from 2012 until 2017. Played 1 year as a left tackle with Carolina Panthers. That was the last year of his NFL career.
So Ryan Khalil was the one who was drafted earlier.
Yes. So I said
Okay.
you're thinking about the wrong guy.
Okay.
Oops, damn it. I get rid of it. Ah, shit. But you look at, I'll pull that back up. Very, very interesting draft class as I get that pulled up, Grumpy. We'll get a few more comments here in. The Jets lose to the Bills this week, I assume.
Absolutely. No shot for the Jets to beat the Bills. The Bills are back in first place in the playoff race. That means they'll get home field against Kansas City. Kansas City would have to play. I know I'm way ahead of myself, of course. Kansas City would have to play Cincinnati. So maybe Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a team to watch out for. They really are. Justin Blackman, wide receiver for Jacksonville. He's a bust. Morris Claiborne.
Hold on real quick. D-Cut said he retired while the Colts were playing a preseason game on national TV.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah. I forgot how that all transpired, but thanks, D-Cut, for that. But yes, Morris Claiborne. That's right. Mark Barron.
Bust.
Ryan Tannehill.
All right.
Played a lot of years.
He was a bust for Miami. Luke Kuechly.
Yes.
Really good. Really
great. Really great. Stephon Gilmore.
Excellent.
Dontari Poe.
No, bust.
Fletcher Cox, big plus. He panned out. Fletcher Cox panned out. Michael Floyd,
bust.
Michael
Brockers, bust. Mm-hmm. Bruce Irvin, yes, very good.
Oh, yeah.
He's
played really. He's played really well. I give him. I think he's actually probably.
He's a linebacker. They turned him into a linebacker.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. That's right.
Really good.
Couples, bust. Dre Kirkpatrick. He played for quite a few years.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He played for quite a few years, Cincy.
Yeah, he was all right. Melvin Ingram, good pick.
Yeah.
Shea McClellan, bust. Kendall Wright, bust. Chandler Jones, excellent pick.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Wheaton, bust.
I remember he was like the oldest. What was he, like 24, 25 years old? Yeah. And he was selected so much older than everybody else. Riley Reef.
Plus, he was good. He was good.
Let's say, yeah, I think he's played well. David DeCastro.
Okay.
He was good for a short time period for them. Dante Hightower, I think, played
excellent.
Well. Yeah, let's say.
Those were two great picks by New England. Chandler Jones and Dante Hightower, two excellent picks. Whitney Merciless, yes, good player. Kevin Zeitler, good player.
Yep. Yeah.
Nick Perry, I'm leaning on bust. Harrison Smith, absolutely great pick. AJ Jenkins, bust. Doug Martin, bust. David Wilson, bust.
An immediate bust. Yeah. So, I just thought about the top portion that you talk about the first 10 picks. Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin III, Trent Richardson, Matt Khalil, Justin Blackman, Morris Claiborne, Mark Barron, Ryan Tannehill, Kuechly, and Stephon Gilmore. Who would have ever thought so many busts in the early selection? So that draft, Grumpy.
It happens every year. Guys who don't produce up to their draft stock. You could go through any draft and look at the first round and say the same thing. Andrew Luck, not a bust.
I consider him a bust.
Injuries. He had the shoulder injury. That's what ended it for him.
Well, he had the foot injury, I think, is what hurt him.
The shoulder. It was the shoulder.
Okay. Sure.
I mean, injuries. Injuries don't make you a bust. It means you get hurt doing your job. That doesn't make you a bust.
I don't know. You don't give Robert Griffin III a bust? I don't know.
No, because after he was hurt, he got hurt again. That's it. As soon as he hurt the knee, he couldn't run anymore. That's what his game was predicated on. Like Justin Fields, if he crapped out now, you could say he was a bust. If he tears his knee now, I wouldn't call him a bust because
I would. He's
shown he can run. Okay, if they can get some type of weapons around him, he could be something. He needs stability. The Bears need some stability in the front office. They need a coach who's going to be there for more than a year. They need to get some weapons on the outside. They have nothing. They're terrible.
Paulo C says, what happened to the New York Giants? They start off 6-0, and now they're 7-4-1, tied against the Commanders at home. In this conference, it's only 3 teams: the Eagles, Cowboys, and the 49ers.
49ers who knows if the 49ers are going to make it? They're not their third-string quarterback.
49ers are going to make the postseason. I'll tell you this too, Paulo. The Giants are not very good. They don't have a quarterback. They got a little bit of a new coach bump at the beginning of the season is what you saw. And I think Brian Daboll's a really good coach. I like what I've seen from him. I just don't think the team's good enough.
I think that they have a shot to make the playoffs because Jimmy Garoppolo's out. But now they're saying it might not be season ending, that he can come back.
They said it probably won't be, actually.
Well, it will be because he's soft.
Well, if you make the postseason, what's to say that he can't?
If he gets a hangnail, he's going to miss a week or two.
You think that bad, huh?
Yeah.
Andrew L. said, I fully expect the Islanders to beat Vegas the way the Rangers dismantled them.
I disagree.
I think the Rangers are a team that if you get their A game, they're really freaking good. And if you get the B game, not so much.
The Rangers are starting to pick it up a little bit
now. Frank says, the Jets can. So win the game. We'll be close.
The Jets can win this game. We'll be close.
Oh, I'm sorry. D-Cut says, if I remember correctly, that little egomaniac midget Gruden destroyed Doug Martin's career by running him like 35 to 40 times a game.
He had one good year his first year. That's it.
You see a lot of running backs. The best years they have first, maybe second year. If they don't have a great first year, second year is their last hope.
Gruden was gone by then.
That's right. Doug Martin. Yeah, he was the guy who always got banged up too. A little
I think
bit.
Gruden was gone by then.
Frank says Andrew Luck had Hall of Fame talent. His drunk owner never brought in an offensive line.
True.
And the Giants' schedule is pretty hard now, in all honesty.
I think they're still going to win a couple more games this year. I think they have a legit shot to make the playoffs.
They don't make the playoffs, and here's the thing. Or if they do make the playoffs, they're first round out.
That's
and they're super wild card weekend out because that's where they're going to be playing the first week of the offseason, or the first week of the postseason. And then you're going to be in a spot where you say, great, what do we do for quarterback? We're going to throw unbelievable amounts of money at Lamar Jackson probably, and that's just going to be another mistake too.
That's okay. I mean, I'm just looking right now. The Giants would still make the playoffs. San Francisco right now is like the division winner. So they'd be going up against Seattle. It's the Giants are 7-4-1. Seattle is 7-5. Washington 7-5-1. So one of those teams is going to miss out on the playoffs. We don't know which one. I mean, it could very easily be Seattle.
Drew L says Cashman and Hal want to talk about budget. Meanwhile, they're paying Stanton, Judge, and Cole over $300 million each. There is no budget. There's just investing it wrong.
100% correct.
D-Cut says, I miss boxing on HBO, the good old days.
It was really good. Boxing used to be better than it is now. No one does boxing. Barely exists anymore for the most part. Everything's UFC.
I like UFC better than boxing anyway, personally. Frank says Cashman is one of the worst general managers for years now.
I disagree with that. I mean, you get your team into the playoffs just about every year. You're not a bad GM. Bad GMs.
He is also given a lot of budget where other general managers maybe who are just of equally talent who
When
don't
was the
have the
last?
same
Okay,
budget.
but they don't sign big free agents every year now. Garrett Cole was a big free agent signing. When was the last one for that?
How long has Cashman been at the helm for again?
20-something years.
Okay. He has signed over that time period a shit ton of big name free agents.
Okay, but he's talking about the last few years.
In the last years, Panea was a guy they signed a few years ago. How do you think he panned out? Not great.
They traded for him. They traded for him with Seattle.
Okay. That's right. Jesus Montero went the other way. I mean, okay. Garrett Cole is a good signing. He's panned out well.
They don't. It's not like the olden days where the Yankees go out and sign 3 and 4 free agents every year. This time's changed.
Giancarlo Stanton, he was a signing.
Was he a signing, or was he? They trade for him. I thought they traded for him with the Marlins.
Well, now it's tough.
And here's the thing.
Yeah, they traded him back in 2017.
Yeah, I don't like him. I thought that was a dumb move because you already had Aaron Judge. They have so many of the same guy that, when everything's going great, you're scoring 16 runs every game, against, the Baltimore Orioles. Well, but comes playoff time, you strike out a lot and it comes back to bite you in the butt. That's why we don't beat Houston. Yankees don't beat Houston because Houston knows how to pitch. They know how to win multiple different ways. For the Yankees, it's long ball or nothing.
And D-Cut says boxing in the 80s was great.
It was phenomenal in the 80s. Phenomenal. Particularly in the lighter weight classes like the welterweights and the middleweights. Man, they were so good.
Andriel said, I think the Yanks will get Rondon, unfortunately.
I worry about him pitching in New York. He's pitched with the White Sox. And even though Chicago's a big market, the White Sox are not it's like, oh, hey, White Sox today. It's the Cubs town. And he had a relatively good year this year with San Francisco. But he's a guy that you also have to watch, tends to get injured a bit.
Are you worried that he's got Carl Pavano vibes about him?
I don't know. And that's the thing, you don't know. But guys in small markets, hey, who was the guy Sonny Gray? Great at Oakland, couldn't throw a strike for the Yankees.
That's right.
Really good in Cincinnati and now in Minnesota. Some guys just can't be under the spotlight. That's why I was surprised the Yankees didn't take a run at Jacob deGrom. They know he can pitch in New York. It's different, just different pitching there.
Don't bring up deGrom. It's always going to be a sore topic. Drew L says the difference between Houston and the Yankees is that Houston is able to get talent on a budget. Jose Abreu is a prime example of that.
Did they signed Jose Abreu?
Yeah, they signed Jose Abreu early on this offseason.
Wow. I mean, okay, Jose Abreu, is he the greatest player? He won league MVP 2 years ago.
Yeah. I think now 3 years ago. Or did he win during the COVID year? I don't remember.
I think it was 2 years ago. But he's a guy who's going to do really well in that lineup. Michael Brantley was a guy they brought in from Cleveland. Don't have to pay him a whole lot.
He won, by the way, in the COVID year, so 3 years ago. Yeah, he hit 317, 60 RBIs in 60 games, had 43 runs.
What were his numbers this year?
19 home runs. This year, Jose Abreu hit 304, 75 RBIs, 15 home runs, and 85 runs. He's 35 years old.
Yeah. But you know what?
He was.
The Yankees used to, back in the Wayback Machine, would bring in a guy like that and he'd have a career resurgence.
Well, I was about to say, when you put him around a whole bunch of talented bats, I mean, like, right, it's tougher. You can't go ahead and say, I'm going to go ahead and pitch around this guy because I don't have to worry about who comes up afterwards in case I walk him. You don't have that luxury pitching against the Houston Astros.
Right. But I mean, he's been good for the majority of his career. He played for the White Sox, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, look at his numbers.
Mm-hmm.
He's been good.
Fantastic. Yeah, he's played extremely well. I'll zoom in a little more for us here. Sorry about that, Grump. Let me get rid of this damn ad over here.
107 RBIs, 101, 100, 102, 78 in 128 games, 123, 60 and 60. That was really good. 117, and this year was a down year for him.
Yeah.
75. Now,
hit for a lot better average, not as much power.
Is this the beginning of the end for him?
Could be.
Could be. Could be. But he's worth taking a flyer on.
I'd take a flyer on a guy like that. Absolutely. Why not? Rendon already signed, and it's not with the Yankees.
Oh, okay. Must have just happened today.
Rendon hasn't signed. What are you talking about? I don't know. We'll see. D-Cut says Tommy Hearns and Sweet Pea Whitaker.
They had a I never liked Sweet Pea Whitaker. He was a running guy. I always liked Marvin Hagler. To me, Marvin Hagler was just the quintessential boxer. Hated Sugar Ray Leonard. Hated him. Liked Tommy Hearns. Liked Roberto Duran. Julio Cesar Chavez fought Whitaker. And no, who did he beat at the end? I forget who it was. Somebody was beating Chavez, who won like something like 90 fights in a row. And maybe it was Whitaker. I don't remember who it was. And Chavez knocked him out in the 15th round of a fight he was going to lose. But for me, it was Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler was the best. Just a class act. Just passed away in the last couple of years, too.
Alexander said, who do you guys think is the best boxer of all time?
That's subjective.
It's either Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson, right?
No, it's absolutely not Mike Tyson.
Oh, Mike Tyson just had those crazy.
Absolutely not Mike Tyson. Muhammad Ali would have killed Mike Tyson.
In his prime, come on, dude.
Muhammad Ali would have killed Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson wouldn't even have touched Muhammad Ali. You don't know how good Muhammad Ali is. Never even saw him fight.
I just said Muhammad Ali. I said if I had to
or
go
Mike Tyson is what
Mike
you said.
Tyson.
And I said not Mike Tyson. Absolutely not. He just would have. Mike Tyson too small.
Mike Tyson too small. Okay, sure.
Muhammad Ali was 6'4". Mike Tyson, what, 5'10"?
Mike Tyson he'd catch a son of a bitch and you're out cold.
Okay, but here's the thing: you couldn't catch Muhammad Ali. That was the thing. Okay. Joe Frazier, George Foreman was beating the hell out of everybody. Killed Joe Frazier. Ali beat him. Just play rope a dope with him. That's what let him tire himself out and knock him out in the 8th round Zaire. How about Rocky Marciano, undefeated heavyweight champion? Joe Louis.
I'm about to say, going to say Joe Louis. Hey, it's the bum of the month. What was that? It was the bum of the week. The bum of the
month club.
Bum of the month club.
Because he was so much better than everybody else. Just every month he'd fight somebody, knock him out. Yeah. Joe Louis, great fighter. The fighters back then are way better than the guys today.
No, Tyson Fury probably is the best fighter. Now that you reminded me, Grumpy, he's probably the best fighter I've ever seen.
He wouldn't last 2 rounds against
the Gypsy King. The Gypsy King is the best boxer, Grumpy. I love that. He's got that really unorthodox style about him. That's for certain. Paul O.C. said the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are so freaking lucky. They beat the Saints. The only reason the Bucs came back to win is because the Saints beat themselves in that crappy division. They will make the playoffs.
Number one, they were so freaking lucky to beat the Saints. True. The only reason they came back to win is because the Saints beat themselves. False. They had Brady. And in that crap division, they will make the playoffs. True again. Yeah, Brady led them back on that. It just shows how dumb Tampa Bay's coaching staff is. When they go no huddle, hurry up, bing, bang, boom, right down the field every time. They just don't do it. That's on the coach. You want to know why Saints beat them every year? Because the Saints say, okay, we're going to play the same style. It works against you. We're going to rush 4 guys, put everybody else back in covers, play press man on you. And Byron Leftwich is not capable of making any adjustments. He's been coordinator there for 4 years? They just beat him these last 2 years and in the playoff game. Other than that, he's never beaten them. And they usually get just destroyed on offense, even with Brady.
Drew L said Jose Abreu signed a 3-year, $39 million a year deal.
In today's market, that's not a bad deal, particularly has a bounce back in any way, shape, or form.
I say short-term deal. Drew L said, am I the only one that is just super unimpressed with Tom Brady when he played the Saints?
Maybe. Here's the thing. They're missing their starting right tackle. They're missing their 3 interior linemen, all new guys. Then they have the turnstile over there at left tackle. A lot of drop balls as usual. But when it counted, it's always the Tampa Bay runs the ball on first down, period. So they're starting 2nd and 11, 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10. Tough to play like that. It's the coordinator. They don't know what they're doing. The head coach is a clown.
That's what I wanted to comment on. They're not a balanced team, and they're completely one-dimensional. And Brady's not the same player he used to be. That being said, when you try to dedicate plays to stay balanced and to run the football, but you are just cannot run the ball, you're wasting downs. I'm not saying you got to throw 60 times a game in order to win games. You've got to improve. You got to be somewhat more balanced. You have to be able, unless you've got a guy, unless Brady's at the peak of his performance, and he's not, you can't just be a team that's going to line up there and throw 50 or 55 times a game and expect to win.
That's what they're doing now. Yeah. Except they run every first down. It's like every first down they're running the ball.
Here's a 1 or a 2 yard gain. Okay, 2nd and long. Okay, here's a drop pass or a reception for 3 yards. Okay, now we're in 3rd and long. Every damn down. Drew L said, I still think Brady is washed. Against the Saints, it shouldn't matter. If Todd Bowles is your coach, Leonard Fournette is trash too.
Brady's not calling the plays. Yeah. Brady's not calling the plays. When they go no huddle, when they go hurry up and Brady's calling the plays at the line, guess what? They move the ball right down the field. Leonard Fournette is trash. I hate big guys who tap dance when they come to the line. Hit the hole. Rashad White's a better back than he is right now.
He's not the same back he was 2-3 years ago.
No, he's not the same back since they gave him the big deal this offseason. He's just not. And here's what's going to happen to him in the offseason. He's going to get cut.
I thought you about to make him look fat. No, he came in fat this year.
Yeah, here's the thing. He will get cut this offseason. You got a guy on a rookie contract who's a better player, better in the pass game. He hits the hole hard. That's the end of Leonard Fournette. He's going to get cut.
John M. said, Grumpy, what is your way too early prediction for the Mets?
It's way too early. I still think they'll be good.
Frank saying Brady's getting old.
He is getting old. I think the divorce thing is really – I think he did not want to come back to Tampa. Absolutely did not. I think the divorce thing has had a negative impact. Look at how skinny he is. And I think he's taken his game a step back a little bit. I think because he's getting pressured like almost immediately. But I think he'll sign somewhere else like San Francisco next year and they'll win a Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. Drew L said also the difference between the Yankees and Houston. Houston signed Abreu. The Yankees' big signing was Tommy freaking
Canely.
Yeah,
but that's the difference, right? That's a guy. Abreu is a guy that the Yankees years ago would have snapped up like that to come in and fill a role like that. They don't get those guys anymore. They just don't.
Tommy's an alumni from a university. My university, Drew L said. D-Cut says Tyson was a paper tiger. Holyfield kicked his ass twice.
Okay. When Tyson first came up and he was managed by Customato and Kevin Rooney, he was a buzzsaw. When he started, when he went to Don King and had a bunch of yes men training him and around him, that was the end for him. It was the end. He was
that's a D'Amato. I mean, like that definitely hurt him. I mean, like you talk about his ability to box too. I mean,
but when Kevin Rooney was there, it was a continuation. It's when he changed management from Bill Clayton and went to Don King. Because Don King, yes, whatever you want. There was accountability with the other guys, and that's the beginning of the end. That was the beginning of the Tyson. He was a buzzsaw when he came up though, because he knew he's a master. He knows boxing history. He studied it.
He beat the living shit out of Larry Holmes. I mean, Holmes is at the tail end there, but
Larry Holmes was what, 39 years old?
Uh,
But here's the thing, I don't even think he knocked Holmes out.
Yes, he certainly did.
I think it was 4th round.
Obliterated him.
What
I thought
round?
it was first round. Beat the living piss out of him. I
I don't
gotta
think
pull that
so.
back up. Give me a sec here.
I think it was Michael Spinks he knocked out in the first round.
Because I remember they always had that video where he's talking to Muhammad. He's like, "I'm gonna get this one for you," and he just let me see here.
I thought Larry Holmes was 4 rounds, but I don't think he knocked him out. Maybe it was a TKO, but he didn't knock him out.
Let me see here.
And Holmes even admitted he just took for the paycheck. They said, "How much? How much?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll do it."
Yeah, you're right. 4th round. Hold on, let me get it. 4th round.
It was Michael
4th round
Spinks he knocked out in the first round. Michael Spinks was de facto champion, one of the alphabet titles, and he was petrified. I remember that was a big pay-per-view fight. Knocked him out in the first round. I was out getting clothes when that fight started, and it was over. Like before I got out of the store. It was like shit. Killed him. Michael
Trevor
Spinks.
Berbick. Yeah.
Trevor Berbick. Yeah, he beat Trevor Berbick. Berbick was he was the last guy to fight Ali, knocked him out. Or they threw in the towel on Ali, whatever it was. Ali didn't even throw a punch that fight.
Frank says, "Oh, well, Drew, that's a good signing. I was happy. I don't expect a lot from Beanhead Cashman. Oh God. And Rocky Marciano was amazing."
Yep. People think it's so hard because you don't see the fighters from the olden days. Sugar Ray Robinson was a tremendous fighter, pound for pound. Marvin Hagler, tremendous fighter, pound for pound.
Oh my God. How could we have forgotten? Andrew L said Jake Paul is the greatest fighter of all time, right, Grump?
He shouldn't even be allowed to wear mittens or just like gloves to keep his hand warm. Isotoners.
D-Cut says it was
Meldrick Taylor. That's it. Yes. That's right. Thank you, D-Cut. It was Meldrick Taylor who beat Chavez with like 10 seconds left. Richard Steele called the fight. And Steele just passed away. He was a good referee. His thing, he talked to Taylor. Chavez put a beating on in the last round, and he knocked him down, and he asked Taylor a couple of questions, and Taylor didn't say anything. So he waited. So that's it. 10 seconds. He lost the fight.
Frank says today Bowles is horrendous as a head coach. Todd Bowles is horrendous as a head coach.
He's terrible.
And Don King ruined Tyson. He did.
Absolutely.
D-Cut says Teddy Atlas lives near me. Talk boxing with him when I see him at the Italian Deli every so often.
Yeah. Trainer, former trainer, whatever.
Tyson, like me, is a big fan of Marciano.
Rocky Marciano was really, really good. My dad used to tell me that Marciano would train in a swimming pool, throwing punches in a swimming pool for the resistance. He was relentless, never got tired.
Paulo C said
he was from Brockton, Massachusetts, the same place where Marvin Hagler adopted his hometown, Brockton, Massachusetts.
Paulo C said Brady is not the same quarterback. Let's face it, he's too old now. Look at Rodgers for the Packers. He's too old too. Yes, Grumpy. The divorce thing is taking a toll on Brady too.
I think that's the biggest thing. He lost so much weight. When you're under stress like that happens sometimes. And I don't think he's as good as he was. I think he's absolutely taken a step back. But if you put him in the right circumstance, in the big moments, he's still the best in the big moments.
Joel said the Bucks should hire Adam Gase as their next head coach. He's so underrated. Good one. Alexander says Foreman was really good.
He was pretty good for a while. He just destroyed Joe Frazier. Knocked him down 6 times in the championship fight. Oh, rematching, knocked him out in 5. It was tailor-made where Ali and Frazier had great fights. Man, Foreman, Joe Frazier would just come in, bob and weave, and Foreman just stand up and just boom, boom, boom. It was like getting hit by a baseball bat.
Frank says, yeah, we had a big party for the Sphinx fight at my friend's house during high school days. I came out of the bathroom and the guys were like, holy shit, it's over. I was like, no freaking way.
He was petrified of Tyson. Just petrified.
Ooh, Druel says, all I know is that KSI beats Dylan Daney's or Danis, whatever that is, he might have a better resume compared to Jake Paul.
Who are those?
KSI. He used to be a FIFA YouTuber way back in the day. Now he does like the celebrity boxing type of thing. He's a YouTuber, YouTube boxing.
No wonder I never heard of them.
Grumpy Ken Norton wasn't bad either, says John.
He was pretty good. I remember watching when the WBC championship, they stripped Ali of the title because he didn't want to fight Norton. And it wound up being Norton against Larry Holmes. And Larry Holmes won a 15-round decision. Larry Holmes, underrated champion, really underrated, really good boxer. I thought Norton beat him.
Drew L. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then I also thought that Norton beat Muhammad Ali in their third fight in Yankee Stadium. Drew L. says, I wonder how the new franchise quarterback, a.k.a. everyone's favorite State Farm quarterback, Baker Mayfield, will play for the crooked Los Angeles Rams. Oh, the cooked Los Angeles. Well, they could be crooked as well, but yes, they are cooked.
How will he play, Grumpy? I wonder how he's going to play. I would say he sucks. He's a shitty quarterback.
I would say he has no chance of succeeding because how much of the playbook could he actually learn in 3 days?
Enough. Alexander says Celebrity Deathmatch was hilarious, and Mills Lane was spot on in that show.
He just died recently. Mills Lane also this week, I believe.
Drill said, Grumpy, one question for you. Who is worse as a Panther, Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield? Baker.
They were both pretty bad. Gosh, I want to say Darnold. Darnold because he came in as a starter. He was traded for to be the starter. Baker Mayfield came in just before training camp, where Darnold came in at free agency.
His ass trying to make it.
Here's the thing, neither one was any good, and I blame the coach for that, honestly.
Frank says, so many great fighters today. How many good fighters? Maybe two. People have been lazy. They're not many greats at anything. Hence why baseball are overpaying semi-bums, says Frank.
I don't even think the fighters are that great. Why? Because back in the old days, you had to fight a lot to be good because you didn't get paid a whole lot of money. You had to fight to eat.
Drill said, all I know is that the Chiefs defense is this week has the easiest play in fantasy. Okay. I don't know who they're playing, but fair enough. I think that, are they playing the Cardinals?
No, the Patriots. The Patriots are playing the Cardinals. I'm just going to tell you what. Baker Mayfield is driving the Rams down the field. They got the ball at the 30-yard line.
How do you know that? How do you know that, Grumpy? Have you been watching the game all day?
I'm not watching the game at all.
Yes, you are. I know you're watching a fucking game. I just don't know why you're doing it. Yeah, they're playing the Broncos, so they do have an easy matchup.
The Broncos are maybe the worst offensive team in the history of the game.
D-Cut says, remember the brawl at MSG, Grumpy, after
Riddick Bowe versus Andrew Galata.
And do you remember that brawl? Is what he's asking.
I do remember it. It was crazy. I think that was Lou Duva's last big fighter who he managed.
Andriel said, why does Skip Bayless have such an obsession with Baker? You should pull up Shannon and Skip getting into it. Oh God, those are always fun. I was about to say those are always good when there's a lot. Oh, Grumpy, what's the score now?
No idea.
I didn't know if he had scored or not. Because I mean, like that's in the dying moments of the game, is it not?
I don't know.
How many seconds are left? Give us an update.
15 seconds left. 2nd and 10 from the 23-yard line. Baker Mayfield drops back the pass. Throws one for the end zone. Touchdown. Holy crap.
Shit.
To Van Jefferson.
The Raiders find a way to lose. Holy shit.
They got to hit the extra point. But that's the Raiders all year, right? Losing by a point right at the end.
How much time is left?
9 seconds. It's got to hit the extra point.
Well, maybe the Raiders can get a huge pass to Devontae Adams. Who knows? And all they need is a field goal. I was about to say those are always good ones. We'll have to prep those beforehand, Andrew, so we'll know what's kind of going on or which ones we're doing. And Frank says, I remember that DC D-Cut insane. Oh my gosh. As a cartoon says race wars. And Alexander says the worst Islanders player of all time. Mine, Dennis Vasky. What is that? Vasky?
Vasky.
If you want to look at your phone, you can help me out because I can't pronounce that name, Grumpy. D-Cut says, for sure, Frank. That shit was scary. For worst Islander of all time for you, Grumpy.
Josh Bailey.
I thought you were going to say Simon Holmstrom, but I guess that's
he hasn't been there long enough to be the worst of all time.
Okay, Josh Bailey, fair enough. Drew L says Chiefs play Broncos country. Let's
it's not really Josh Bailey, but why not push that narrative?
Frank said, I mean, a lot of great fighters back in the day, and how many good or even great fighters are there?
There are no. I mean, Gennady Golovkin was pretty good.
Yeah,
he could have fought years ago.
Canelo was. I like
Canelo Alvarez. He was good for a while.
Yeah,
but they wouldn't have been back in the old days. They were just regular. They were just guys.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what just a guy. Manny Pacquiao. I mean, Manny Pacquiao people are going to give Floyd Mayweather a lot of hype and press there for it, but I've never been a Floyd guy.
He was a slapper. He was a slapper.
Drew L said skip when I can't remember when he does that when Shannon Sharp does it. He's like skip or however the hell he does it.
Skip.
Andrew L. As Jets fans, we'll take a Raiders loss.
Oh, you got it.
And do the Raiders have bipolar disorder? They beat two good teams and they lose to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. Maybe Baker Mayfield's with a good coach now, and all of a sudden they're winning games.
Stop. Alexander says Tua will cook Herbert. No, stop.
They play this week. It's the Chargers against the Dolphins. That'll be a good game. I'll watch that game.
He said I had to get one in there, guys. No worries. Do you guys? I didn't get a chance to look at the fan fight. Sorry, Alexander. Drew L said, "Oh, TJ, did you forget Brittany Griner was released?" No, I didn't forget that. We just purposely were not talking about.
It's not a story.
As I say, I'm like, okay. Trust me, you're going to be getting that fed through your mouth for the next week and a half about that nonsense. So I was just like, well, I said, I'll let your local news coverage just blow the hell out of you. Heisman finalists. Want to talk about that today? Caleb Williams, C.J. Stroud, Max Duggan, and Stetson Bennett. Who takes home the Heisman for you, Grump?
Caleb Williams.
Really?
Yep.
I don't know. The two
stats are better than everybody else's.
Who lost?
They resurrected USC from a terrible team to a team that was one game with from making the Final Four. They're still a top 10 squad, and they were 5-7 last year.
He won the Maxwell Trophy for the best offensive player, I believe.
Caleb Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to win Heisman. C.J. Stroud, I don't think he's been great this year. Ohio State was good with or without him. Max Duggan, Max Duggan returns. That's an old movie. Sorry, no freaking way. And Stetson Bennett, don't even embarrass myself by putting him in there.
Stetson Bennett, Heisman winner.
You should never get that.
So I think C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud deserves that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They've won against good teams. They play. Okay, Caleb Williams plays in that miserable Pac-12. You're never going to see me pumping him up.
Okay, well, he's going to win the Heisman. It doesn't matter what you think. He's going to win the Heisman. He was really good this year.
Baker for Heisman. Oh God. Alexander said she deserved to be home. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just
there's probably a whole lot of other more deserving people who should have been traded. If you're going to trade somebody for somebody, should have been somebody else. That's all I'm saying.
I don't even know how I'm not going to talk about it. Anyway, moving along. Drew L said, everybody deserves to be home. Nobody deserves to be held unjustly behind bars in another country. But, there are other people out there in similar situations that just don't get the press coverage. Drew L said, and TJ skipped over this one, but Tommy, how do you pronounce that again, Grumpy?
Canely.
On a weird way to spell that name. Actually, no, we read that one. He's from your school, Drew. No, we got that one. Alexander said, Grump, were you a Knight Rider
fan back in the day? No, I was not. I was always working when Knight Rider was on. So I've never seen an episode of that show.
Grumpy, Brady could be back for the Patriots uniform next year. I did see that too.
Freaking way. No way.
Grump, man, we are here at the end of the game, or at the end of the show, at the end of the game too, but the end of the show. What happened there, Grumpy? How did the game end? Did he throw a huge touchdown?
17-16. Your boy Baker, first quarterback in the Super Bowl era to lead a team to a 13-point comeback and win his debut with two different teams, the Browns and the Rams. Look at that. He made history tonight, Baker Mayfield did.
Send him to the Hall of Fame. Send him to Canton, right?
That's right.
But Grumpy, we're here at the end of the show. What do you want to say before we wrap things up?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Thank you, everybody, for watching the show here this evening. We'll be live this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, have a great Friday. Have a great start to your weekend. We'll see you guys Sunday, 8 p.m. Thank you again, Grumpy.
My pleasure.